Well, it only took 15 years and $70, but we can finally ride on the extreme gears again. Okay, you guys saw the thumbnail. I like this game a lot. I'll put in over 120 hours into this game, and even more if you include the network test. And that's why it hurts so much that I don't think you should buy it for $70. Crossworlds also received its first real balance patch after a couple months, addressing some of the core gameplay issues players have been dealing with, and adding a mode just for legend rank players. Crossworlds was also nominated at the Game Awards for Best Racing Game, so that's something. But Sonic Team also announced a bunch of free content that's going to be releasing pretty soon, which is worth talking about. For those unfamiliar with Crossworlds, I'm going to go over the core gameplay loop, just so that we're all on the same page. I really like the courses. Not every course is amazing, but I really like the levels in this game for the most part. In case you don't know, the first lap is standard. It eases the player into the rest of the race. Think of it as a warm-up. And then whoever is in first place at the end of the first lap gets to decide the second lap. The frontrunner gets the choice of picking a crossworld or a completely random track. And some of the times, the random track will have a frenzy effect. Typically, which will be a white wisp that regenerates. Think a mushroom from Mario Kart. After the second lap, you have the third lap. The third and final lap is a more difficult version of the first lap, with far more obstacles, 100 ring drops, and the finish is almost always chaotic. The last few seconds of a race are almost always incredibly stressful, and don't be surprised if you go from a high to a low placing in the last couple of seconds, or vice versa. There's a pretty healthy number of tracks in this game. When it comes to the tracks in Crossworlds, some are linear like Apotos, but some have a great amount of depth like Coral Town that have a lot of different paths and even secret shortcuts that the developers didn't intend for you to get. The Crossworlds aspect of the game forces players to adapt on the fly due to the randomness aspect of it. Some setups you will have to be better for certain Crossworlds rather than others. You might be really good at a main track that you're playing on, but realize that the Crossworld that was selected isn't quite your forte. This means every additional DLC track that's added increases the skill ceiling that much more. As of the making of this video, we've gotten 2 DLC tracks, and I'd say they're good, but not top tier in the same way that Coral Town or Kronos Island is by any means. Minecraft World's third lap gets a little too chaotic for me, and Bikini Bottom is too simple and only gets interesting to me during the third lap. But even as someone who's already hit legend rank, I'm still discovering different tricks and shortcuts on social media. If you have nostalgia for how much tech used to be in the earlier Mario Kart entries, you are going to get so much out of Crossworlds. In fact, out of all the big 3 kart racers to release this year, I would say that Crossworlds actually has the highest skill ceiling out of these games. Another aspect of this game that's really great is the gadget system. You can get a maximum capacity of 6 gadget slots, and this system forces you to make hard choices as to what you prioritize as a racer. Do you value drifting quickly and having temporary invincibility? Cool, there's a build for you. Do you value being able to gain rings quickly to reach your top speed? Great, then you can do a build around faster tricks and ring bonuses for tricks. Do you value being able to change your items and having more item slots? Those options are there for you, and you kind of get the point by now. The meta is constantly shifting. What players thought was the best setup in the open network test is completely different than what the top racers use now. The closest thing you could say is truly optimal is the level 4 tech drift setup, and the reason why that's used so much is because items are such a big problem in the game right now. Certainly some gadgets are better than others, but there isn't a single gadget in the game that is completely useless. The only limit is your own playstyle. Speaking of creativity, this is by far the most customizable kart racer that I've personally ever seen. The different parts are generally negligible, but all the different parts, stickers, colors, auras, and horns pretty much guarantee that if you put a lot of effort into customizing a kart, you will not have anyone else with something like it. Regardless of whatever criticisms I'll make of this game later on the video, this is a game that I will see myself putting hundreds of hours in and still finding room to improve as a player. Lastly, the actual cross-platform play of this game is really awesome, and I'm happy that games are now making this the standard. It allows for people to play with their friends on different consoles, and overall extends the lifespan of this game, given that online console networks aren't competing. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the aspects of this game I'm not too fond of. That brings me to the first big problem with this game. There is no campaign or story mode at all. How a fully priced $70 game in the year 2025 is launching without any sort of story mode completely baffles me. I'm not even saying it has to be that expansive or for Sonic Team to add to the canon at all. It's just that we don't really get to see all these characters together in a playable form anymore these days, and I think not including any kind of campaign was a seriously missed opportunity. A story mode provides the context, not only for the characters that are included in the game's roster, but also for the mechanics. Imagine seeing Silver's or Jet's reactions to Radical Highway and North Star Islands. Some throwaway rival dialogue isn't good enough for me. Most Sonic fans think that Zero Gravity is pretty lame, but the most memorable part about it was the story. Back in those days, there was sort of an art to video game cutscenes, and looking at scenes that were pre-rendered are still mind-blowing. Those were almost the same quality that Square Enix pre-rendered scenes were capable of looking like. It really is a shame, but let's go to Crossworlds' cast of characters. It's awesome to see Silver and Blaze playable in a Sonic game again, but Zaz and Zavok should have been cut. And if they're going to be included, where's Ray and Mighty? Where's Marine from Rush Adventure? Where's Tikal and Chaos? And the character selection isn't the only problem with the roster. Yeah, we're going to be getting free characters, which is great, but that doesn't fix my next complaint, which is some characters literally have no dialogue at all. None of the DLC characters have any voice lines so far. I understand dubbing the game in 6 different languages for every additional character may be a bit costly, but it makes the characters feel stale and I just think it's a bit lazy. I play on PC and I can mod voice lines in if I really wanted to, but that's not my job, that's Sega's job. When it comes to visuals, the game also isn't very graphically impressive, to be honest. I don't consider myself a graphics hog at all. The models look like the ones from Sonic Forces, which were already kind of dated back then. And even the background assets look like they're from the GameCube era. Let's go back to the price for a second. $70 is just too much money. And maybe there's a discussion to be had one day about what justifies a certain game price, and if we should even be okay with games being $70, but that's a different discussion for another day. Imagine if Takashi Iizuka was just like, hey guys, you've all seen that other $80 kart racing game made by the super out of touch, super anti-consumer gaming company with a red plumber, right? Well, we don't actually want to bleed you dry, which is why we're going to price our base game at $50 and the digital deluxe edition for $80. Boom! Sonic Team would have absolutely destroyed Nintendo. Yes, the original price of $70 for the base game is still lower than $80 for Mario Kart World, but I think Sega doesn't understand how big of a missed opportunity that was. I think the worst part in all of this is that unlike Nintendo, Sega's games frequently go on sale and is actually on sale right now. There are people who would have bought this game at launch, but couldn't because it's too expensive, and they missed out on a lot. It's a shame, but let's get into some issues that Sonic Team could actually patch to make the game better. First and foremost, the servers. Holy hell were the servers so unstable in the open network test. It felt like I would get at least a couple of communication errors every play session, either before a race started or during a race, which essentially means that all the time spent waiting for the race to commence was for nothing. The full game certainly improved the servers and you don't run into those issues as much, but it's still far too frequent. This is very frustrating when you're trying to squad up with your friends only to get a bullshit error message at the last second. Then you have to wait for your squad mates to finish their race and invite you back into the lobby. Secondly, let's get into the items. They're still way too strong. Some items are so strong in fact that can even beat the first place racer at the last second, even if they're at top speed and have played absolutely perfectly. But the worst offender by far is the Drill Whisk. The Drill Whisk is the most overpowered item in the game. It has by far the highest speed stat, gives you complete invincibility, and pretty much destroys the competition if you take a good shortcut with the drill. The drill even lasts longer if you're in last place. If the drill were any more overpowered, I would assume it could do my taxes. These items need to be toned down sooner rather than later. I also think the visuals can be a bit overwhelming. Anytime a game is shoving so much shit in your face that you can't see where you're going needs to be tuned down. The game also had its first real patch recently. Sonic Team added a ton of free content. They fixed bugs, implemented anti-cheat measures for World Match and Time Trial, and changed some game bouncing. However, more should be done to fix the issues I previously mentioned. Let's come down to a verdict. Should you buy this game for $70? No, not in my opinion. I'm a die-hard Sonic fan, but that price is just not one I recommend you pay in good conscience. Currently the base game's on sale for $49, and the Season Pass bundle is $58.50. I do think those are legitimately fair prices, and what I wish the game was priced at launch. In terms of legitimate value, Crossworlds at $49 is objectively a much better deal than buying Mario Kart World at $80. There's no debate on that. The full Crossworlds price tag really hurts all that more given I can't count the amount of comments I've seen across social media saying, I would have bought this game at launch if the price was lower, or I'm just going to wait for a sale. That's a shame, because I think Sega is really underestimating how many more people would have been playing the game at launch if it sold at the same price as that other critically acclaimed Sonic game. Anyways, I hope this video is able to help you come to a decision as to whether or not you think this game is worth your hard-earned cash. I'm going to be streaming on Twitch over the next couple of days, so if you guys want to discuss this game more in depth with me, that's where you would go. If you felt this video was informative to you, a like would mean the world to me, and I'd recommend you subscribe if you're a Sonic fan, as I do have some Sonic videos planned in the future. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and enjoy your holidays for whatever else you guys celebrate. Take care.